It's been said by so many people, a child can be the light in your life. And it is, again, something that is said by a lot of couples that I meet, that having a child is sometimes as much a financial decision as it is an emotional decision. And the only reason they say that is because they want to provide the best for their children. But having said that, it is also quite often seen that parents tend to underestimate the amount of money that they need to effectively raise their children. We'll be talking about all the aspects of planning for a child on this next conversation. My guest today is Shweta Jain from Investography. Thank you so much, Shweta, as always, for taking the time. You've interacted with so many individuals and so many prospective parents, so many parents. In your experience, do people tend to underestimate the amount of money that they need when they're raising their children?
Thank you for having me. Yes, absolutely. I think people grossly underestimate how much it takes to raise children. And it's because you don't know what kind of school you want to send them to, what kind of toys you'd like to buy, what kind of clothes you want to pick up. I mean, we underestimate our own emotions when it comes to children because till you don't have your child, you don't really know all that goes into raising, whether it's feeding the child or putting the child to sleep. And same goes for money as well. So financial aspects, whether it's expenses, whether it's investments that is needed for them. They say that a child is your heart walking outside your body, and it's so true because every time I see parents leave their children or mothers leave their children to go out to work, it's so difficult. And similarly, when it comes to money, I think we splurge a lot, especially when they're babies. We splurge so much and then sort of not regret, but say, you know what, I wish I'd spent that money more wisely. So yes, grossly underestimated.
Especially with that first child, right? I myself am a second child, so I got a lot of hand-me-downs, Shweta. I guess parents become wiser the more children they have. But having said that, how should parents normally plan something out? And because the title of this program is What to Expect Financially When You're Expecting. So how should parents plan this out?
So I think different things work for different people, and I'm just going to explore a couple of options here, and they'll have to figure out what works for them because honestly, nobody knows how they are going to react in certain situations, right? So when you, for example, when one starts investing, only then they know how they are going to react in a panic situation. Life is so much clearer in the rearview mirror, right? So when you said hand me downs, it brings me to my second child, who is now almost 1.5, and my first is 11 and a half. So there's a 10-year gap. And whenever I see my second child in the hand me downs of the first one, it's just so warm and so nice to see that. So it's not necessarily that financially it makes more sense. Of course it does, and that's why I think one of the reasons where parents do is have children closer together, a fewer number of gap years, which means that they can sort of resources will be utilized between both. So that's of course one strategy that a lot of parents follow. What parents could do is, even before they start planning the children, right, if you don't know what life is going to throw at you, you don't know whether you want one child, two children, none, or more. So you don't know. So what I would recommend people do, couples do, is start investing, start saving right from the word go, because initially the amount doesn't really matter. And I know it's not a popular opinion because everybody wants to save a lot of money right in the beginning, or they want you to save a lot. But just start, the habit that, okay, this could be for my family fund. You don't want to call it child fund for whatever our superstitious beliefs. Just call it the family fund and keep saving in that. And you start visualizing whether it's the education of the child, whether it's marriage that you want to fund, the wedding that you want to fund, because a lot of Indians especially love the whole great Indian wedding for their children. I mean, my son is not even 12, and we already talk about destination weddings. He knows what kind of wedding he wants to have because the exposure is so much, right? So start saving for that family fund, But first, it could be a common fund, right? You don't have to specifically say this is for education, this is for marriage till you have your children. You should keep investing in that. The other thing that you could do is when you have children and you get gifts for the child, whether it's birthdays, anniversaries, Diwalis, whatever gifts that you're getting, as soon as you can open bank accounts for them, which is usually 3 months, start opening their bank accounts, open the bank accounts in their name, start putting this gift money in their account. It makes you accountable that this money is theirs, and so you're not going to splurge it on something else. So you could start doing that. The other thing that you could do is open PPF accounts in their names. While it's not for the tax benefit, but I think it's a great product to have, a debt product to have for the long term. Of course, equity will give you the fantastic growth and compounding, but PPF isn't bad either because you're not going to touch it. See, anything that you leave that it saves your money from you, I'm a big fan. So PPF is a great account for you to open in their names. That you can start doing. And of course, once they are born, start investing in their names with you as the guardian. That helps a lot. That motivates you to save more as well. And it's easier for you to have these conversations when they're grown up a little.
Oh, I think you've already given a lot of important tips that people can follow. But having said that, there are a couple of things you mentioned. A wedding, you mentioned education. These are things that are extremely expensive. Education, you never know what your child is going to do, right? Can you imagine a child that hasn't been born yet? You're wondering, will they be studying in Yale, or will they go to Harvard? Will they go to international school? Will they go to another school? Did they go to the school that you went to? How do you plan for this? And education inflation, and everybody knows this, is going through the roof.
Right. So it it came as a shocker to me because the first year preschool fee for my child, for my first child, was more than I paid for my college education the first year or 1 year. So I was in for a shock, huge shock. And of course, as years go by, the school fees only increase. And yes, when we had the child, I didn't know if it was going to be ICSE school, CBSE school, IB, and accordingly fees differ. But like I said, a lot of these things you don't know, right? And whether it's Yale or Harvard, you don't know. But what you can do is provide for them financially so that they feel empowered, that whatever their choices are, they're not financially pressurized, or that's not coming as a limitation for them. And having these conversations when they're slightly older, when they're maybe 13, 14, 15, sets the right sort of expectations with them, that this is how much or my parents can afford, or this is what I can look forward to. Because you don't want a heartbreak kind of a situation for them as well, where they are thinking, we're going to go to the US and you can't even afford the next college, right? Because you've not saved money for that.